Hey, what's up? It's Ethan Bence, and we're going to be going over the writing and recording process of my new single, She's Scandalous. Cause we did a lot of things, but she said she got a man. Said she got a man. Said she got a man. What it got to do with Obviously, the title's a little bit self-explanatory as to what the song is about, but we're going to be going over how I wrote it, how I recorded it, everything like that. And this song's like super cool because the title is reference to, if not my favorite, like my top 2 or 3 favorite Tupac songs of all time, Skandalous. And I wrote the song actually before coming up with the title, and then after I was like, you know what, no, like this is the title, this is what it's gotta be. So this song I actually wrote a long time ago. I wrote this one probably in like, or most of it at least. I wrote most of it in, I think, about April of 2019. I was visiting home. Man, for some reason it seems like I get a lot of inspiration whenever I'm visiting home. Maybe I should go visit home now. But anyway, I was visiting home and I was driving around. And I heard the beat and I was just like listening. I was mumbling. Driving to me is like one of the best times actually to come up with like melodies, flows, stuff like that. Not writing, of course, like don't text and drive. But driving or walking or showering or doing something that's like kind of mindless, or doing something that like I guess has your mind occupied on something else. Like that's how you can like kind of again shut off that logical part of your brain and just go with the feeling. So I was listening to the beat and then immediately I got the rhythm of the hook. I got the because we did a lot. I was like no 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 no. And so like sometimes if I'm driving or if I'm walking, I'll like be mumbling flows like no 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 and just like saying nonsense, saying gibberish. You know what I mean? So in this case, like again, I was driving, I got that, and I got the flow for some of the verses, and I was like, oh okay, cool, it's kind of cool. And then I wrote like the first, I think the first verse, but the first verse that you hear now is different than the first verse that I originally wrote. We'll get into like the rewrite of the song. And then the second verse was pretty much the same. The third verse also changed a little bit, but I wrote all of those relatively like in the same time period. Again, like this is a song where like, you know, I was like, this is like a fun song, like, well, sort of funny maybe. It's not like super serious, but again, it has references to some of like, you know, some people that inspire me musically a ton. Again, like She's Scandalous, like the title of it. You know, in the first line, don't save her, she don't want to be saved. Obviously, that's taking from No Role Models by J. Cole. And then Sugar Free, my OG, let the story begin. Sugar Free, obviously. I like personally, I think that Sugar Free is like one of the most he was one of the most ahead of his time rappers that there was. You know, to be whatever, like especially like on Rhythmalism with DJ Quick. Like his whole flow and obviously like he's hilarious. Like his subject matter is like his punchlines are great, his flow is great, his voice is great, like his energy is just Sugar Free's a legend. Why you bullshitting? Which funny enough, actually, I think that DJ Quick said that Why You Bullshitting, the beat for that was supposed to be for Tupac originally. Which man, like imagine hearing Pac on that beat like that. I don't know. I can't even think of it because like again that Sugar Free song is just like it just kills. So anyway, I wrote those first like 3 verses, but if you remember, if you watched the video for Goticas, how I wrote that song, I was going to Quad Studio. I recorded this song. I recorded She's Scandalous on New Year's Day in Quad Studios again. And so, you know, like that's like a scenario where, you know, I was like, nah, I got to get this done. You know, this is like in that time period where I'm recording a lot, just like a lot. I'm always recording, but like this is a period where like I got like 3, 4, 5 songs just like done, completed, finished. That's the biggest thing. Like as an artist, I have a bunch, like probably like hundreds of Logic sessions or hundreds of beats that have been like half written to or whatever. And like, you know, I don't want to do that. I want to finish stuff. I want to finish songs and put them out. You know what I mean? And so in the case of She's Scandalous, I wrote that like again, partially in 2019. After I finished writing Goticas, I had to rewrite the first, I think 8 bars of the first verse. And then I had to rewrite a couple bars in the third verse. I didn't touch the second verse because the second verse again is like as good as like wordplay filled, is like, you know, double entendre filled. Like that was all good. The second verse was good, but the first verse I didn't like the intro, and then the third verse I didn't like the intro on the third verse either. So I rewrote those. The recording of She's Scandalous was actually relatively easy. It wasn't crazy. Like obviously like at the very beginning of it, that hook, like there's like the distorted hook, like or the saturated, I guess it's less distorted, more saturated, or I mean it's a little bit of both really, but like that saturation on the hook and just like because we did a lot of things, but she said she got a man, like that's just like I feel like it just sets the tone of it. You know what I mean? Like it just it is what it is. And that obviously was like, you know, gained from some real life experiences with these scandalous ladies. And obviously the third verse tells that story, but the recording, the actual like literal recording of it in quad was decently easy. Again, I'm like super annoying with my vocals. So the second verse, actually, I took like a bunch of takes on the second verse. And for me, I'm like, you know what? I don't care. Like, that's what the studio is for. I'm not here to do it in one take. You know what I mean? Would I like to be able to do stuff in one take? Sure. But at the same time, it's like, okay, if you don't like something that you did on like one word or two words or three words or whatever, it's like you have the technology, punch it in, because you're going to hear that for the rest of your life and annoy yourself. And at the same time, to be honest with you, I'm not going to sit in the studio for 12 hours trying to do something in one take just to say that I did it in one take. It doesn't make any sense. Not, you know, I don't know if it take 12 hours or not, but whatever. The point is like, why waste time? Be efficient with it. Get a good performance. A live performance is different from a studio recording. You know what I mean? In a lot of cases, and especially in this case. So the recording of that song, again, that took place in quad. I rewrote the first stuff like the night before going to the studio. Again, I had that reserved, and then I actually redid some parts of Goticas. Funny enough, see if you haven't seen that explanation, if you haven't heard Goticas, go listen to that. But I did a little bit of that in both of those sessions, and that was like a really cool session. Again, like, you know what I mean? New Year's Day. In the studio, like in quad, vocal chain again. I love my Sony C800G. I don't have one, but like I feel like it's mine. You know what I mean? Because that's how much I love it. So that was recorded on a Sony C800G. But yeah, the recording of that one was actually pretty easy. The writing, like I said, it took place over like a couple different years, and it's weird because like, you know, I went back and listened to it. I was like, man, like, why didn't I finish this? And it's just one of those things where like I wrote it, but again, like you can edit it. Like when I'm writing, at least, I want to just like write and get it down, and I can go back and edit it. I edited She's Scandalous 4 years later in terms of the writing of it. You know what I mean? And it made more sense. It was more clever. It was like, you know, it was more meaningful. So it's like, why not do that? You know? But yeah, that was it. That's how She's Scandalous was written and recorded. That's how it took place. That's how it came about. That's it for this one.